This week, me and De Niro the Greyhound are donning our winter woolies as we head onto the snow-dusted banks of the River Tay as we explore the heart of Scotland. Our first stop is Kinnoull Hill, where we're going to go and have a look at one of the area's most iconic landmarks. If you are coming to visit this rather cool tower, this is where you park. This is the Jubilee car park. And there's lots of mountain bike trails and walking trails and all sorts of things. It's a really nice park. I've never been here before, but I'm really quite liking it and definitely be bringing Bex back here. And of the two of those, guess which one we are following. People keep talking to De Niro and saying, oh, how old is she? Or is she a rescue? I'm going to get a t-shirt printed that said it looked red in the photographs. De Niro is resplendent in his pink coat. De Niro is making friends. Hello, what's your name? And more importantly, who are you with? Right, we are going this way. It definitely fits into the not a bad wee day category. There's even some horses for added ambience. It doesn't get any less pretty as you get further up the hill. There's a nice wee house and a nice wee stable and a really nice wee view. Right, let's keep going. Let's get to the top of this hill and look at this tower, which we have driven past every time we've driven between Perth and Dundee, saw on the hillside and thought, oh, that looks quite interesting. We are finally going to go and have a wee look, with De Niro, of course, leading the way. Hello, Mr. Robin, how are you? Are you going to smile for the camera? There we go, thank you for showing us your red breast. If you go up to the tower today, you're probably going to look at a tower and see quite an amazing view. I don't imagine De Niro will be very interested in the tower today, but he might find people he can mug for biscuits. He's got his finest flappy ears going to attract attention. Flap, 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 flap. There are people up here in serious outdoor walking gear, you know, like the proper. Now is where it gets confusing. I think we want to keep going uphill, but that says there's a red trail and a blue trail. But that post over there's got a yellow marker, and that post over there has got a red marker, so I now have no idea where we are going. Right, just check the video from the bottom of the hill, this bit here. And of the two of those, guess which one we are following. And we are wanting the red trail, which is the one that goes uphill. And over there you get a really nice view of the River Tay, but I'll not spoil it because we're going to get an even better view when we get to the top of this hill, I hope. Dropped my phone and it's still recording, but I can't stop it recording. I'm pressing buttons and nothing is happening. Oops, I thought I'd broke my phone there. So we've got some pretty woods, and up in front of us we've got the sun coming through the trees. This is a really atmospheric place. We are quite liking this. And he's quite liking all the smells. De Niro wants to go and play. There's a wee spaniel over there having a great old time tearing about the woods. Here he comes. Hello! Even in his pink coat, people still put their dogs on a lead when they see De Niro coming. I don't know why people think greyhounds are scary. They're the most laid-back, docile, friendly things you will ever meet. This is all uphill. I'm doing the whole getting more out of breath the higher I get thing, so I'll probably see you guys when we get to the top. And there's another one of those red markers, and one over there, so it's definitely this way, towards the rather photogenic sunlight coming through the trees. You lovely people watching our videos already see far too many adverts, so I don't want to do any more, but we do have a coffee. If you'd like to buy De Niro a biscuit, you can do it via our coffee link. And you'd be his best friend for exactly as long as it takes him to eat a biscuit. We are at the top of the trail that we saw from down there on the main road, and that is the River Tay, and that is what we're here to see. And the sign back there said cliffs, so this must be a bit of a hot spot for people who think they can't take anymore, but you always can. If you're having problems, reach out and talk to someone, anyone. That is pretty cool. No idea what its point is, if it's a folly or if it's something that was built for some purpose. We'll try to find out, and of course we will let you know. It's not a bad wee view. You can see all the Tay Valley from here, and if you go around there, I'm guessing you can see Perth, and down to the left is Fife. The tower was actually built as a folly, as we kind of thought, by the Earl of Kinnoull, and he thought it was the perfect spot to sit and have a spot of lunch. That's not a bad idea. Unfortunately, we didn't bring any with us. Well, that was quite cool, showing a few people how the drone worked. I think they were quite impressed. I think the lady wasn't impressed when the man said, oh, I think I might get one of those. Causing trouble and spending other people's money. The silvery Tay that flows from Perth to Dundee every day. Now I believe that poem was written by a guy called McGonagall, who was Scotland's national poet. And he called himself Scotland's national poet because he went to take some poetry to Queen Victoria and she wasn't in. But because he'd taken the poetry, he decided he was Scotland's national poet. William McGonagall. The man is a legend and a truly, truly terrible poet. And De Niro is still trying to mug passers-by for biscuits, even passers-by that don't have a dog with them. So that is one of our 2 towers, and walking back I've just seen something down there. It looks like a castle, so we'll have to have a look on Google Maps and see if that castle that's just down there is actually a castle. A lot of them in this area are wedding venues and such like. I'm guessing it might be one of them. Let's go and find out. And we just met some more people who were asking about the greyhound. Is he a rescue? It's like, no, he's retired. He's not a rescue, he's retired. He's living his best life. And they were asking, well, how much of a walk do they need? It's like, well, this walk up this hill and back will be him for about the next 3 days. Mind you, we said that yesterday when we walked out to East Weems to do some footage of the graveyards for our Places of the Past channel, so he's getting quite used to long walks while I'm not working. I'm back to work on Monday, so boo. I wonder if there's a correlation between how cold it is and how many takes it takes you to be able to actually say something properly, because the words are perfectly formed in my brain and by the time they get to my mouth they're just absolute gibberish. Actually, that's not really explaining it, because that doesn't explain all the summertime gibberish. This is all so nice. We'll have to bring Bex back here. I think she'd quite like it. Okay, wait for me. Stop pulling me down the hill, you silly doggle. Bertie over there was desperate to speak to De Niro. De Niro, not quite so keen. That is just an amazing view. That bench there, I'm going to show you a picture of a bench in case you don't know what a bench looks like, must have one of the best views in Scotland. And we're not in the Highlands, we're very much in the sort of middle bit. Just about Perth. Between Perth and Dundee is where that river goes. I'm gibbering again. Blue skies, sunlight coming through the trees. Life just does not get much better than this. It's quite funny how sometimes the inspiration for an episode will just come out of nowhere. I was sitting on Google Maps last night knowing that I had a day off today, so I was looking through it and I saw the tower that we just looked at, and then I saw there was another one nearby and I thought, the 2 towers. The 2 towers. Voila. Well, 2 towers, a greyhound and very probably a graveyard. And whatever else we see, as usual. And we are back down the hill to where Daisy is hiding in the trees. Okay, she's parked in the Jubilee car park, but hiding in the trees sounds more dramatic. I wonder if those horses would like a nice pink coat. I get into trouble from Bex when I show you pictures of Daisy because unfortunately she's still not been washed. Not big on washing the van. De Niro has got back into Daisy and now he wants to get out again because he knows it's time to go back into his little bed. De Niro! That's where bribery comes in. In you get, good boy. Daisy isn't the only thing that needs a wash, that windscreen is manky. But anyway, that's the first tower done. Now let's go and see if we can find the second. The view from here is not bad either. We've come along to Binn Hill, which is our second of our 2 towers. So it is obviously at the top of a hill. It has to be, hasn't it? It can't just be somewhere you can drive to. So off to walk up the big hill. When I was, for want of a better word, planning this wee trip, there is an obelisk that's not far away. I should have just used that as the second of our 2 towers, because it's got a car park and I'm getting a bit fed up with the sun breaking photogenically through the trees. There's only so much photogenic sun stuff you can take. This place is a wee bit quieter than the last one. There's not a soul about. There's also not any route markings or indications that you're actually heading in the right direction. Well, according to good old Google Maps, I am not far away, but I still can't see it, so it must be, I think I'm heading in the right direction. Okay. I should have kept my mouth shut for another few seconds, and that'll be it there. It will come as no surprise to you to hear that I've got no idea of the history of this tower. I read a thing down the bottom that said it was an observatory, but I don't know if that's the case or not. Is it an observatory or is it just an ornament for a very rich person's garden? Let's go and see if we can find out. When I was doing my extensive research, which involved looking at my phone at the bottom of the hill, it said this thing had been up for sale recently, so I don't know if it's been bought. And if you did buy it, I mean, what would you do with it? It'd be a nice place to live, but it's not convenient for really anything. I wonder if it's got a view. I'm just going up here to try and get a view of the tower from... All right, yes, okay. It's got quite a nice view out over the River Tay. That is really quite pretty, and that is quite impressive actually. You see it from here, it looks a lot better than it does close up. You can see the sort of turrety bit at the top and all the stonework. Quite liking that one. To be fair, it's not the sort of thing you expect to find on top of a hill in Perthshire, but it is quite impressive. Let's go around the side and see what we can see. It's got windows that are open to the world. It's got, there must be a door somewhere. There's 2 doors bricked up on that backside, but there must be a door around here. One would think. I will now waffle until we hopefully get somewhere where we can see. Oh, there it is there. Okay, so it's a maximum security, you're not getting in door on the side of a quite impressive tower. I think it's time for a wee look with a drone. Well, okay, that was a bit exciting because I put the drone up and it was doing its little droney thing, and then I was telling it to come back down again and it was saying no. Like a greyhound that wants to go for another walk, the drone was saying, I'm not coming back. I may well have panicked a bit. So there you are, 2 towers. Don't say that you don't get value for money or value for watching adverts so other people get money. Anyway, we're now going to go and look at the obelisk anyway, because I don't think it's very far away. So I should really call this 3 towers, but that loses all of its impact. A last wee look. It is quite a cool structure. I do love the sounds of the forest. There's birds chirping and the crunch of leaves and snow underfoot. It's quite good. I'll shut up now actually so you can hear it. I did that and all the birds shut up. There were birds chirping, I promise you. Although it's all very pretty and very sun-dappled, I am quite looking forward to the warmer weather because my fingers are a bit chilly. And also, we don't get very long days. It's only about 2:30 and the sun's already going down. Okay, I know that is in Britain, and people in properly snowy or properly northerly latitudes will be saying, stop complaining, you don't know how good you've got it. Probably in a Canadian accent. Well, for any obelisk fans out there, we've got a bit of a disappointment, but don't worry, we'll make it up to you. Well, it turns out that the obelisk is actually up a great big hill and the car park was quite a long walk away, so we've binned the idea of going to see the obelisk, but I promised you guys a bonus tower, so we've come to the village of Abernethy. This is the town's old market cross, doubling up as a war memorial, because up the top there it says 1458, but there are 2 bronze plaques that have got the names of the dead from the First World War, and then the smaller one at the bottom from the Second World War. What a nice wee place. And behind it, over there, there is the bonus tower that I promised you. That is the Abernethy Round Tower. So this tower is one of only 2 of the Irish Celtic style in Scotland. And if you're wondering how I know that, I am reading it off that very interesting sign over there. That's quite a wee bit of history there. And another good thing about this tower is it's in a graveyard. And not just any old graveyard. Quite a nice little graveyard. A lot of them in these little villages are usually our favourites, and this looks like it is in a similar vein. Oh, and here's a wee private bit. Let's go into the wee private bit for a wee look and see who the great and the good of this place were. Sacred to the memory of Alexander Moncrieff of somewhere I can't pronounce, Colfargie, whose remains were here deposited amongst the ashes of his fathers of many generations upon the first day of May 1817, a man embellished with many virtues, amongst which honour, generosity and humanity were conspicuous. Not blowing his own trumpet or anything. As a husband, parent and master, he endeared himself as a friend and companion. He was beloved. I wonder how much of that's actually true. In this little private bit for the Moncrieffs, there's a coat of arms that was removed from their family house before it was demolished in 1957. And again, if you're wondering how I know that, yeah, you probably guessed. This is all straight into the 1800s. There isn't a modern bit here. The modern graveyard must be elsewhere in the parish, but this is all quite old. 1890. Let's have a look at this next one. Peter Mill, who died April 1842, aged 73. And Joseph, his son, and David, his son, and John Christie, his grandchild, and quite a lot of people squeezed in there. They've got good value for money out of that gravestone. We've come around to the sort of backside of the church, and there's a couple of gravestones dotted about here. For those of you who like a little bit of military history, and as you know we do, that is in memory of James Alexander Scotland, Corporal in the Field Engineers, AIF, Allied Something Force, killed in action in France, 1917, aged 26. And he's buried in the Menin Cemetery. We will take you there one day Abernethy. We know where that one is. It's in Belgium. Not many graveyards have a really cool tower like that. Now, we saw at the gate a Commonwealth War Graves sign, so let's go and see if we can find the war grave. But first, there's an open gate through into another private bit, so let's go and see what we can see in here. We're going to see if we can get the key for the tower, because you can go up the tower, but there's a lot of steps, so I hope you're watching Grape Soda Travels, so that'll be an opportunity for a fantastic fast forward. Right, we're in the wee private bit, which is to the Pattersons. Various members of the Patterson family, yeah, quite a lot of members of the Patterson family in quite a small place. This is a cracking wee cemetery. I'm quite glad we decided to come here today. We were going to be coming to this area at some point anyway, because it's really interesting, but this was an unplanned detour, and just for that tower that you're now going to go and hopefully see the inside of. Oh, and that's quite unusual, isn't it? That's it's got the winged face at the top and some drapes and a shield that says JY, and then some tools and an hourglass. That's quite interesting. It doesn't actually have a name on it. I wonder what that story is. Okay, let's take a wander up this way, because we're still looking for the Commonwealth War Grave, and I'm not seeing anything in here that is sort of war grave shaped, so let's see if we can find it. It's got to be here somewhere. Oh, is that it over there? I don't think so. It looks like it's got too much writing on it, but let's go and have a wee look. It's the right sort of shape. No, it's not. It's on a plinth as well. Commonwealth war graves are not usually on plinths. They're usually just into the ground. But let's keep going. It must be here somewhere. I think we'll have to come back here for a more detailed look. I'm a bit short of time today. I've got to get back to meet Bex and do some running, so that'll be a lot less fun than what I'm doing just now. Hello, John Speedy, consulting engineer. There's the gate. There's the tower. There's the path that we walked down, and over here, walked right past it, is the war grave for Private Gray of the Royal Army Service Corps, who died on the 18th of November 1917. Hello, Private Gray. We'll have one last wee look down here, and then we'll go and see if we can find the key for the tower, and if not, we'll come back and get the key for the tower at another point, and I'll edit all that stuff out so you don't actually even hear me talking about it. That's quite a grand memorial, isn't it, with a big statue at the top. Let's go and see who this is. Sacred to the memory of Ella, the wife of a farmer who died in 1929. Oh, I wonder what that was for. That is where bad people were made to imagine getting chained to that. Interesting. That is really quite smart. The clock up there has got 1868 on it for Queen Victoria, I guess, but the tower is thought to be much older. They say 11th century, but I don't know if it's quite that old. It's still quite impressive. Unfortunately, no time to go up the tower today, but we'll definitely do that next time. 100 steps, and I would imagine an absolutely amazing view. And that was that for today. But don't worry, we do want to see the view from the top of that tower, so we will definitely be back. I tried to convince Bex that I just wasn't washing Daisy for continuity reasons, so you wouldn't see when we filmed different bits in different places on different days if she suddenly got clean, but she wasn't buying it, so I had to go and give the big white whale a bath. And through the magic of television on a slightly damper day, we are back in Abernethy, and we're going to go and look at the round tower, aren't we?
Well, you told me there was a really good coffee shop with...
Well, Google says there's a coffee shop.
And clootie dumpling.
It's called a clootie dumpling shop, and it's got scones. We're making friends with the locals. This is a cat we just about ran over going into the car park. We weren't even going very fast. It just walked right in front of us, but none the worse for wear. Little booty 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 boot.
You're a nice busy cat, aren't you?
Now get out of the road, you silly little moggy. It's quite a narrow road, and there's some cracking parking around here. Excuse me, are you going to follow us all the way? Psst, psst. You're very soggy, poor puss. Some crocheted things in the little shop, but we are heading back up to the round tower again, and this time hopefully we're going to get up it. And if you don't believe me, there's a sign that says round tower, and there is the actual round tower again. But first we're going to go to the cafe for a coffee, and this is it. It is Mad Stoves and Clootie McToot dumpling shop and scones. They do a scone of the day, so let's go and find out what today's scone of the day is.
Are we allowed to go for coffee now?
Are we allowed to go for a coffee now? Of course we're allowed to go for a coffee now. Oh, and Bex has found a seat in the corner, and I've just found out this place is amazing and it is closing next week.
Why is it closing?
Dunno, but it's closing. Lady just told me. And if you're wondering exactly what a clootie dumpling is, there it is there. That is the recipe. It is basically a pudding steamed in an old piece of cloth, which doesn't sound very nice, but it does taste very nice. I'm taking all of these home. I mean, none of these Becks, I meant none of these. And there's Urwally and Obi-Wan Kenobi and lots of other Clutie Dumpling people. Well, that's a bit disappointing. We've just asked about getting the key for the tower, which Google says is open, from the museum that Google says is open, and the museum is is closed. It's been closed since October because it is seasonal. Well, let's go and have another wee look at some things in the graveyard, because Bex is heading off to the Pictish stone I missed completely last time I was here. I walked past it and looked at it and thought, I'll have to take a picture of that, and I completely forgot. So this is a Pictish stone, apparently. The graveyard you've already seen, so there's no point wandering around here again, is there? So Abernethy is a nice wee town with lots of nice wee windy streets, but again it's somewhere that's not really designed for motor vehicles. Motor vehicles didn't exist when this place was first urban planned, but there are some cracking wee houses here, that wee yellow one and the wee stone one next to it. It's a really, really nice place. We have to come back here when the museum's open so we can get into the tower. Third time lucky. Oh well, on that crushing disappointment, sorry to keep you all waiting. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Scotland on a Shoestring. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you have, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon for more.
Bye.
Bye.
So for those of you who were asking what the finished hexi-cardigan looks like, here it is. I've actually gifted.
Okay, Bex is now gone all shy because her mother's walked in, but that is the cardigan, which was a birthday present for her mammy, which is why we couldn't show you it before, but that is the finished hexi-cardigan, and that is the second one off the production line, and the third one is psychedelic. Wait till you see the wool that the third one is being made out of.